talk which is titled Introduction to Customer Discovery, an Alternative to the Business Plan. We will hear about the importance of testing out your product before putting it out there, and ways to save thousands of dollars to see if there is any interest in your product idea with today's market. Thank you, Gisele.
So I'm going to talk today about the alternative to the business plan. So I see some cheering going on. So who here has heard about the lean business model? Okay, so I see quite a few hands. So today's class is actually one of the ones that I run when I do a workshop on the introduction to the lean business model canvas. And it's the alternative to the business plan. And why is that? Is because a lot of business owners, like I was talking to a few here just now, get very stressed when they have to do a business plan, and it's a little bit overwhelming. So the business model canvas is actually just a one-page summary of how you can map out what you're supposed to do and all the things that you need to have in place to be a successful business owner. So in your mind, you will think that you have a great product. This is, you think you have you're in love with your product just like you're in love with your baby. And you think that your baby there is the most beautiful thing in the world. However, the rest of the world will see your product or your service. So how do you avoid that? You avoid that by actually talking to your customers and finding out what they really want. So why do most businesses fail? Any ideas? Why do most businesses fail? I'm running out of money, okay? What else? I'm sorry?
Product is obsolete, nobody needs it.
Product is obsolete, nobody needs it, all right? This is actually a very good answer. Most businesses fail because you make something or you offer something that nobody wants. Not necessarily obsolete, it could be brand new and still be completely irrelevant. So most companies fail because you make something that nobody wants to buy. Right? And this is another set of data, exactly the same thing. 42% of the reasons why a company will fail is, on an engineering point of view, is this a good product? Yes, this is a good product. When they built it, they thought that they were going to replace bicycles and motorcycles. Has this replaced motorcycles and bicycles? No. Why? Right. They got things completely wrong. Yeah. First of all, they raised a ton of money, so it wasn't a shortage of cash. It wasn't because they didn't have the money to build it. They got a ton of money. What did they focus on? They actually focused on tech, and they focused on another thing. They hired logistics. They say, okay, we're going to build a ton of these segways, up to 10,000 per week, right? And then what? And then we're going to sell them. So they needed to find the logistics of how to sell the 10,000 segways per week. In the end, after 2 years, they resold 6,000. So what went wrong? Marketing? They didn't know their target customers, right? So I'm from DC. Where do we see segways? We see them on the National Mall, right? We see cops, exactly. So they did not understand their market. They did not talk to their customers. They were so focused on engineering and logistics, they forgot what is key to the success of your company, which is talking to your customers, right? So without solving a particular problem, you will lose your way. So how do you go about finding your way? Right? Oh, sorry, I should say. So in total, what percentage of businesses fail? Any ideas? 90%? Okay. 80%? Well, it's a trick question. Why? It's a trick question because it depends on the industry. So on average, it's about 50% after 5 years. Right? So that's the average. The data is sometimes difficult to get. So it's roughly 50%. However, venture-backed companies, 75% failure rate. So are investors better than others? Finding what the market is? No. Right? Apps, 95% failure rate. Right? It's huge. And then I'm not even talking about how many actually make a living out of that. Right? It's just, if you look at how many people actually make a living out of an app, it's tiny. Right? Food, 90%. IT, 63, manufacturing, so anyway, so it's quite variable. Right? So how do you all go about doing that? Startups fail because they focus on their products and they don't focus on their customers. So this is the old way of doing business. Okay, who here has been told you need to do a business plan? Like almost everyone, right? So I used to be in banking, and then we used to say to people, you need to be in a business plan. So, sorry, this is, I didn't go back. The old way was you have your idea, you need to do your business plan, and then when you go to the bank, or you need to go to investors, and then you get the money, and then after that you can build your thingy, and then after you build your thingy, you can go to the customers and then sell your product. This is how everybody thought that you did it. So before working at George Mason, I used to be in Switzerland, where I worked with the Swiss Federal Institute of Technology, which is the MIT of Switzerland, and it's all scientists and engineers. So they had a different way of doing things. So this is the inventor model, right? So they all were working in labs, right? And then they all had thought, okay, we'll just have an idea, and then we'll build our thingy, and then we'll just go and pitch it to investors, and then lo and behold, we will get money, and then we'll then sell to customers. I mean, honestly, this was like 95% of the scientists and engineers that I used to work with, this is what they did. Did it work? Well, no. Right. So now there's a much better way of doing things. So you have an idea, you find your customers first, right? And then after that, you just do a business model. You validate your business model. So you have to have hypotheses, you validate it, and then you validate, you build something, an MVP, you build it cheaply, and you test the most important things. So you have your MVP. MVP does not stand for most valuable player, it stands for minimum viable product, right? And then after that, you make a few sales. You start making a few sales, and then you pump prime the pump, and then you start getting more and more money. So this is the way that works the best. Right. So why a model and not a plan? Okay. Because for armies and startups, history teaches us that no plan survives the first contact with the enemy. Right. So this is Helmut von Moltke. He was a Prussian general. Right. So he, for 30 years, very successful. But we're going to be a little bit more down to earth, so we follow the Mike Tyson version of Helmut von Moltke, which says that no business plan survives the first contact. You get punched in the face. All right. So your business plan will not survive the first contact with your customers. So you need to have something that's a lot more adaptable, something that's a lot more easy to use, that's user-friendly. So how do you have a user-friendly? It's not like having a 30-page or 50-page tome. You need something that just fits in one page, a guideline. And then the other thing that you need is something that's actionable. So the business model canvas is something that's very easy to use and it's actionable. And it puts the customer at the center of your universe. Focus on the customer and their problems. Don't focus on your product. So you have to think about your customer, you have to love your customer, you have to understand everything about your customer. So the customer discovery goal is to gain deep insight into your customers and their problems. And then once you understand the customer and their problems, you will find the right solution to meet their needs. So problem here is not just a as if they have a hair on fire problem. It could also be something a little bit more friendly, like they want to be more seen as being more upscale, like the Rolex watch, for example. That's not a problem. A simple watch can find your problem. So what is the problem and how you can find a solution to that problem? And that will give you the value proposition of your service or your product. So you understand if you have to understand your customer. So depending on which industry you are, which service you are, it can be a complicated process. So if you're just selling consumer goods, you just understand who your customers are, it's the buyer of your product. If you're working in the hospital industry, for example, in the medical industry, we in DC, we have the NIH, we have a lot of research. So working with the NIH is not at all the same thing as selling bread products or selling a service. So you have to understand who's the user. Are there any influencers in there? Who recommends the product? Who's the decision maker? In the hospital, for example, who's the decision maker? Yes, the patient is the user, but the nurse can also be the user, right? The recommender could be people in the medical industry. The economic buyer, you have a purchasing department in the hospital. So you have to understand every single person that is involved in the purchasing decision. Right? And you can also have some saboteurs, depending on the industry. Somebody who doesn't want to adopt a new strategy or adopt a new product or a new service because of vested interests, you always have some saboteurs. So your role as the business owner, as the entrepreneur here, is to understand every single one of these and to talk to every single one of these people. So who's what? Who can kill the deal? You need to understand that. Right? Maybe is it the patient who's the most important key person to know? No, it will probably be the professor, it will probably be the purchasing department. So customer discovery is not an exact science. Right? You're going to make mistakes. So you're going to interview people, you need to find a pattern, and then you have to identify and analyze what are they really telling you. And you have to test constantly. So sometimes this customer discovery process is also called the scientific method. Why? Is because you make a test, you make an assumption, and then you test it, you validate it, you see, is this correct, is this not correct, where did I go wrong? So this is what a business model canvas looks like, the 9 boxes. So this is very different from a business plan. So the 9 boxes, and then what's at the center here? Value proposition. The value proposition is actually what makes you, your product, or your service important. What differentiates you from everything else, from the competition out there. And then the customer segments, all your customer segments, as your service, your product can have many different customer segments, right? And then how you reach them, which channels do you use, and then on the left-hand side is what resources and you can use, what are your assets, what are partners that you can use, and at the bottom is the finance. So the most important thing, the value proposition, is what's at the middle, and this is what drives the whole business model. If you get that right, and you get your customers segments right, just like Segway got their customer segments wrong, right? If you get that wrong, the whole thing falls to pieces. So you have to have your customer segments and your value proposition have to match, and this is where you need to spend a fair amount of effort getting it right. So you put a hypotheses everywhere. Hypotheses are just guesses, right? Saying what do I think is my value? Why am I special? Why am I better than the competition? Right? And who are my segments? Is it people who are just, everybody who has a bicycle will now want to buy a Segway? No. My segment can be a lot smaller. You need to find that. In this case for Segway, it was people who actually want to go up and down the National Mall, go up and down the malls, cops, right, security systems in airports also. So you have different segments, right? So you need to understand that. The way to understand that is actually by talking to people. Go and talk to your customers. So Steve Blank is our guru. He's the one who came up with the lean business model. So he was an entrepreneur, a serial entrepreneur, and he started a number of companies because he was well known. He raised billions of dollars, and his companies kept on going bankrupt and losing billions of dollars, saying, okay, I must be doing something wrong here, right? There must be a better way of doing things. So he's based out in California. So he came up with this lean business model, right? And then saying, okay, let's not spend billions of dollars making something that nobody wants. Let's understand what our customers want, and then just take it from there. So he's the one who actually started the whole movement out in California. He's now at Stanford, and then it's slowly making its way east, right? And now, about 15 years later, people are starting to adopt that here on the East Coast. And the way to do, because he was at Stanford, a lot of scientists and all that, they don't like talking to people. So he's saying you have to get out of the building and you have to talk to your customers. So this whole customer discovery process. How does that go? You have to find the people that you need to interview, right? Either the users, the recommenders, the buyers, the key decision makers. So you have to talk to them. You have to interview them because you make your hypotheses with your guesses, and you have to validate them or invalidate them. And then you learn about their pains and their gains, and then you process the data, and then you start again, right? All right, so as entrepreneurs, you will get some assumptions wrong. It's fine. I mean, this is part of the scientific method. You make out some hypotheses, you will get things wrong. It's okay. It's just a piece of paper and some Post-its, right? It's not a huge time investment. So be humble and accept the data that you collect. Get stories, not speculation. What's that mean? So when you're interviewing clients, and again, when I run this workshop, we spend a whole hour and a half or a couple of hours on just learning how to do interviews, what sort of questions to ask and how to ask the questions and how to analyze the data. So don't just do a survey. You have to ask people, this is an open conversation that you're having with them. When was the last time you bought some bread? Right? When was the last time you used your bicycle? When was the last time you actually talked to a consultant on marketing? Right? Walk me through the process. How do you go about doing it? What did you like or not like about the process? So you can these are the sort of open-ended questions that you can ask the customers, or you can ask the people in the industry when you're talking to them. Don't ask yes/no questions because that's very limiting. And then at the end, you can ask the magic wand question. So what does that mean? The magic wand question is at the end of the interview saying, okay, in a perfect world, what would you like to see as a solution? If you had everything, if you had a genie that you could rub the lamp and then poof, you get a solution, what sort of solution would you like? This is the magic wand question. All right, so no surveys. So why do I say that? Because surveys are very constraining. You cannot get an open conversation when you're having, just a list of questions and then you just look at your questions and then that's it. So you have to be able to have a talk, a real discussion, a real interview with your customer. If you have a survey, it can be extremely constraining. So a few customer interview tips. So first, tip number one, this is the same tip that I give when you're selling. When you're selling to customers, the same thing. You have to listen and not talk. So the customer has to talk 70% of the time. Tip number two, do not lead the witness. Right? This is not to validate what you think is right. This is to hear what they have to say. This is not a sales pitch. When you're going to see your customers, you're going to interview them. Right? You're not going to sell them a product. You're not there to shove something down their throat. You're here to listen to them. and you have to leave your biases behind. Right? So if everybody's telling you, no, we're not interested, no, this is not a solution, no, we don't want to buy you a Segway, don't say, oh, well, we'll do it anyway, they don't know what they're talking about. And confirmation bias. Right? Don't look out of, you have, when we run these workshops, we ask the participants to do 100 interviews. Right? It's not because one or two people out of the 100 said, yeah, good, great idea. It may be enough to validate, but if everybody else is saying, no, just don't, make sure you're not manipulating the data to validate your confirmation biases. And look for key insights. So I'll give you one quick example, right? So I run the business incubator, right? So it's a very competitive market out there. So I do surveys, I do surveys to make sure that I understand what are my clients, their profiles and that. But one of the key insights I got by talking to them, I mean, you're all business owners here. What is one of your hair on fire hobbies as a business owner?
People always come to me and ask me for a discount.
Discount, okay, all right. So, say he always wants discounts after 3 minutes, okay. All right, another thing, okay? Yep.
Let's say you work with your customers to solve an enterprise account, and everybody tells you to start with an SMB clients, but it's not an SMB problem. And really being able to raise money, just kind of doing that, right?
Yeah.
Like most enterprise solutions start at SMB, but now, what if you're trying to solve an enterprise problem? So you're talking to your customers.
Yeah, you're talking to your customers, but then here you're trying to this is at the beginning, right?
Yeah.
Either you're coming with a new product or a new service or you're starting off. I'll tell you what, one of the big problems that a lot of small business owners are actually, it's medical insurance, right? And so this is one of the things that we introduced at George Mason is actually being able to provide medical insurance, group medical insurance for all the entrepreneurs and their staff. And I could do surveys all I want. This would never have come out unless I had done an interview and talked to them. So once you've talked to them, you have validated all your different business, all your assumptions, right? And then you can do things. So there are some free online courses. One of them is done by Steve Blank called Udacity. Right? So this is it has some videos, you can download the business model, it's very well done, so this is a free thing, I highly recommend that. Some books, Talking to Humans, this book is actually very useful in how to conduct your interviews, and you can download this one for free as well. Talking to Humans is a very good one. The other two Bibles that I recommend are The Owner Startup Manual by Steve Blank, and then The Lean Startup by Eric Ries. Again, these are very good books, easy to use and easy to follow. And then, don't forget, get out of the building and talk to your customers. So this is it. You can do it. You have to speak louder, otherwise I won't be able to hear.
Do you personally do any workshops online?
I don't do any workshops online, but there are some. In every large city, you will be able to find some workshops that do the Lean Startup method. And in DC we have some, and in DC we also have a meetup for learning about the Lean Startup. So there are some coaches, and then there are also some, and then it's groups that get together, the same thing in New York. So I would go on a meetup and then find out. Yeah.
So supposing in the course of everything you just described, and
You're continuously collecting the customer data and getting positive feedback.
Yeah.
If I would you.
Yeah.
And the feedback is positive, and then you put the service and product or product out there,
Yeah.
and you get crickets back. How do you reconcile?
Then I think you probably have your data wrong. Is probably what I would say, is that, or maybe you're pricing it wrong, or you're doing something, or maybe part of maybe there's something that's missing either in your customer relationship or your channels that you're not getting through to your customers. I mean, in that case, there's an imbalance somewhere, and then that means that something is wrong somewhere in your business model, and you have to find out what.
How do you effectively analyze to figure out where the imbalance is?
I mean, then in that case, you go back to your customers. What I do is saying, okay, why aren't you using the service? I mean, what is it that was wrong? And then after that, you're saying, is it because I'm not reaching you? Is it because it's too expensive? Is it because it's not well packaged? Is it something is wrong there? So you have to find out. Or is it because it's inconvenient? Is it then there's a problem there in your model somewhere? Okay, and I guess that's it. Okay. All right. Oh, two more. Okay. All right. Two more questions. Sorry. Any more questions? Yes, there's some more questions.
Yeah, so you said no surveys. I've definitely had some mixed reviews on surveys.
Yes.
I recently did one focus group. How do you feel about the group setting and getting that kind of feedback?
All right. So the focus groups. The problem I have with focus groups is that sometimes you get group think. Right, and then everybody just, yeah, they don't copycat each other. That's one problem. The second problem I've had when I've used group groups is that you have one dominant person who just completely dominates that group, and then everybody just agrees with what that person
No matter
does.
how well you moderate.
No wonder how well. So this is some of the two problems I've had using groups. Right.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. One, yes. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so where do you find customers? What channels do you use?
All right, so you have to make some assumptions. Well, where do I find my customer? I don't know. It's just, you have to understand, okay, so which industry are you in?
Coaching.
Coaching. All right, so what in particular in coaching? What sort of coaching? Leadership coaching. All right, so how would you go about finding, so leadership like women, or is it women in business? All right. So what would you? So how would you go about finding women? I mean, you could start with here. You could attend things like this, right? And then and these are all women business leaders, right? So I would just network, use your Rolodex, use your contacts, use LinkedIn. So this is how I would go about, and then go through some work groups, go to some meetups. So this is how I would go about doing it. Okay. Last question.
Thinking about the Airbnbs and Ubers of the world.
Yes.
Given that it was a concept that was probably outlandish to the general public at first,
Yeah.
how would you say we should kind of like balance what our, I guess, intuition tells us versus what the market is saying at first glance?
Well, I mean, you start small. You always do a minimum viable product, right? And then you start small, with the Airbnb started in just some cities, and then it grew from there. Right? It wasn't in every single country, it wasn't in every single city. You just test the concept in a limited market with limited funds, and then you see whether it works, and then you start from there. You can say the same thing about Amazon. Amazon was a completely outlandish idea when it started buying things online, and it started with what? Just books, right? So they tested the market with just books, and then it went to everything else. Right? And I think that's it. Okay, thank you. Bye.